Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming back and joining me for another video. So, their house of cards is definitely crumbling at the moment. But before I get stuck into the video, I just wanted to talk about my weekend. So firstly, the camping trip was amazing. There's a little clip for you here. I did try and upload it as a short, but I had just a too many drinks at the time, and as I uploaded it I deleted it and I didn't really know what I was doing because I've not done shorts before, so it was a bit of an epic fail. But as you can see here, we had a wonderful time. We were basically in the middle of nowhere. It was lovely and secluded. We had lots of newborn lambs, the field next door, very noisy come 4 a.m, but it's, you know, you're immersed in nature. So we had an absolutely fantastic time. So that's enough about me and my camping trip. Let's get on with the royal news. Now we're going to start with the real royals, and I call them this because they are the real royals rather than the ex-royals of Montecito. First up, we had Princess Charlotte's 7th birthday, and we were treated to 3 new pictures that were released to the media, taken by her mother, the Duchess of Cambridge, who has turned into a wonderful photographer. I've always praised the fact that they release photographs taken by themselves. Obviously, it's so much more natural than stuffy photographs taken with them all formally dressed and that. So it captured Princess Charlotte beautifully. And they have a new family arrival, which is in the form of another new puppy called Orla. This was a present from James Middleton, who has now taken up with his wife Elise to breed in them. And just another gorgeous dog. If you remember, the Cambridges, Catherine and William, we've just had their 11th wedding anniversary. They did start off married life, or it might have been just before they were married, with a puppy themselves called Lupo. You can see some pictures here with Prince George. So just absolutely wonderful family. Princess Charlotte is certainly growing up pretty fast. All of them are. It's amazing, isn't it, how fast kids grow. It just astounds me. Next up, we have the Duchess of Cornwall, which is Camilla, Prince Charles's wife, and she has actually landed the front cover of Vogue. Now this is pretty big. Camilla will be joining other famous royal ladies such as Princess Anne, Duchess of Cambridge, Catherine. Then we've got Princess Diana, who has graced the covers on more than one occasion. And then, of course, our wonderful Queen herself. Now, Meghan could have had an opportunity to do this. She could have had an iconic picture of herself alongside royal women, as briefly as she was a part of the royal family. But she could have had a front cover. She decided to do a little bit of a swipe at the Duchess of Cambridge by saying that she doesn't feel the need to be on front covers of magazines. Well, what was this all about when you were just a royal girlfriend wearing a princess dress? And the cover of the title was actually in reference to headlines that went around the world when Princess Diana had Harry. So pull the other one. So she's ballsed up here, in my opinion, because rather than just having her face alongside lots of other famous royals, it was a feminist cover. It was about supporting and praising other women. The problem is, it became a bit of a joke because she actually plagiarised this, and I will say this with absolute confidence. Meghan had appeared on the cover of Game Changers, a book by Samantha Brett and Steph Adams. On the front cover of the book, as you can see here, near enough looks identical. And secondly, 15 inspirational women were on the front cover of the Game Changers. Meghan did 15 identical windows, but she replaced pretty much her face with a mirror. Yes, you can't make this up. So Meghan, I'm sure when she was holding up the magazine going, yes, I'm still on this. But it was a cheesy thing, let's be honest, of, oh, the reader can look in and see themselves as a trailblazing woman of the future. No, it's not very mature, but that's this kind of like vibe it gives me. You're just like, oh, that's so cringe and corny. Now, this is where the House of Cards really start coming down. Pearl. Meghan's animated TV series that she did with David Furnish has been cancelled before it has even been finished and aired. Netflix, like I said earlier, go woke, go broke. Netflix are suffering with a mass exodus of subscribers, mainly because they've put their price up. And I'm sorry, I could flick through Netflix for hours and not find a single thing to watch. Many of us around the world, I know this is happening in America, in Canada and the UK, we are suffering from massive bills. So people don't want to pay for a subscription when you can't find anything to watch. So they've started cutting off programmes which they thought were going to be shit. And, well, Pearl actually made the cutting board. It sounded boring, didn't it? Anyway, I mean, like many girls her age, our heroine Pearl is on a journey of self-discovery as she tries to overcome life's daily challenges. So a 12-year-old girl, which was probably going to be voiced by Meghan, based on Meghan, is already struggling at 12 years old to get over her life problems. I mean, give me a break. I mean, one of the things that Meghan and Harry's fan base have been screaming about Pearl being cancelled is the fact that it's only Netflix that cancelled it. It's still being handled by Archwell, even though it's Netflix staff that have created it. So Disney might snap it up. I think Disney have had their fair share of Meghan. What was another flop? Elephants that she recorded. Yes, it probably all links back to when Harry pimped her at the Disney premiere. And her voice and her coverage of it got completely destroyed by critics. Plus the fact, I think she managed to piss off some people in Disney while she did it, because the CEO of Disney once stood down and another top-ranking executive actually spoke out and released to the media that Meghan needs Disney more than Disney needs Meghan. Ouch! Meghan delving into politics, she decided to write a very public letter talking about how her struggles in her childhood, how she was forced to take a job at 13 just to put food on the table. The fact that she was on a, $7.99 salad bar was a massive treat. Well, her dad called her out for it, her sister called her out for it, and her own Instagram account proved that that was made up tosh, her Tig blog that she had. So it was another blow for Meghan and her credibility, because she completely lied. She was having like £50, £60 steak dinners at Frank and Muzzo's, I think it was called. She was having all these treats, you know, that her dad would take her out for, with ballet and tap classes. I mean, she really doesn't help herself, because these are actually lies that have come from the horse's mouth. Spotify, another massive flop. They got paid multi-million pounds and they produced one podcast so far. Spotify are supposed to be so frustrated they've actually got their own team of staff now working with Meghan to try and get her to produce something. And given that this new podcast is all supposed to be about feminism through history and insults and archetypes that we've had thrown at us, it's a snore fest waiting to happen. Princess Eugenie is actually pipping her to getting her Spotify podcast out before her, which is called Floodlight, which is all to do with modern slavery. I mean, I'll be honest, I do like Eugenie, but it sounds like another snore fest. It's not something that I would think, oh, do you know what? I've got some spare time. Let's listen to a really boring podcast about slavery. And then I'll listen to archetypes afterwards. And then do you know what? I'll just stick with whale sounds. But Spotify, there must be people running around there with their heads cut off like chickens trying to get something out of them. They paid them millions of pounds for a 30-minute podcast, which actually was more spent with other celebrities speaking. But they had the mighty cheek to try and jump in and get Joe Rogan cancelled. Thankfully, that did not happen, but the absolute entitlement and audacity of this couple. We've been paid multi-million pounds, giving you half an hour of absolute waffle back in 2020, but we want you to listen to us and to cancel one of the most popular, if not the most popular podcaster in the entire world. I don't think so. When Harry and Meghan left the royal family, they did have popularity, or shall we say that Meghan did have Harry's popularity. She's never really gained her own. So when they left and Megxit was initially announced, they still had a lot of support because of the way that they sold it, the way that they sold it to the media, that it was just them. They wanted to step down. They didn't want to be working show ponies, as they called it. They wanted to have more privacy. And given the fact the royal family don't have a lot of privacy, everything is always in the media, people could relate to it and go, well, actually, do you know, Harry was never quite right for marrying a high society blue blood girl. And you never really saw him settling down with someone settling down with him, maybe, that was just very quiet and maybe family orientated. I say quiet as in privacy loving, actually doesn't want to be out there and make a spectacle of themselves. But when Harry met his showgirl in the form of Meghan, this is another thing that, you know, she suited him. Harry dating and marrying an actress, that actually worked for me, because he was never going to settle down with someone straight-laced, because he was a bit of a party boy himself. But with Megxit was announced, obviously people, as I said, still supported them. Well, that has gone to pot, because The lies came out. The fact that they wanted to be part of the royal family, but to merchandise it as well, which they've basically gone and done anyway. They made demands of the Queen that they wanted Sussex royal. She doesn't own the word royal. Hang on a minute, the only reason you've got titles is because of the Queen. But Meghan made these list of demands, all of the stories came out, and then the way that they've behaved since. They had famous friends on their side, everyone speaking out for them on their behalf, saying, oh no, that's not what they wanted, they just want privacy. Well, they have blown that up themselves because they don't want privacy. They never did. They want to restrict what is reported about them. They want to set up fake paparazzi shots. They only want positive stuff being written about them. The world does not work that way. They're trying to silence people on social media. Well, that's obviously not winning them many favours at all, especially now that Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. Harry, from one of the most popular royals, made a complete tool out of himself on the James Corden, the Late Late Show. He was on top of a bus drinking tea, trying to be funny, but he wasn't funny. He then went to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's house and they made lots of references about it. Oh, how he doesn't carry money. Well, this isn't a man that wants privacy. He was even revealing details of presents that the Queen had bought their son. This is not a couple that wanted privacy. And as for Oprah, I mean, their credibility tanked big time because the majority of the stuff that got them headlines within days was proven, in fact, to be lies. Lies. They sat there on national TV and made up complete and utter lies. Lies about the royal family, lies about why their children didn't have titles. Meghan and Harry couldn't even get a story straight of who said what about Archie. And it turns out, which has been pretty much semi-confirmed, that it was Harry having a conversation before he was married to Meghan, which means she was not pregnant. So how could that be a big racism storm? Lots of people ask, will the baby have the mother's blue eyes? Will it have the father's dark hair? It's genealogy. We're all fascinated with it. Who will the baby look like? Because one parent is biracial, will the baby come out dark skinned? There's nothing bloody racist about it, but this was the story that they sold, and lots of people started seeing through them. The whole victim narrative got blown out of the water. Woe is me, woe is me. There's never anything that they ever talk about that they're just grateful for everything that the families actually gave them, what the country gave them. I mean, a 33 million taxpayer funded wedding, and they slag off the UK and say we're all racist. There were millions of people partying everywhere for Harry. People loved Harry. We weren't sure, quite a lot of us weren't sure of Meghan, and that proved to be for right reasons. But continuously he's done podcasts. Recently, we had the NBC interview that he did at the Invictus Games. He made the Invictus Games about him and Meghan. And sadly, this is something I did pay attention to a lot of your comments after my Invictus video about the fact that lots of you are not going to watch it. One, because it is on Netflix. And two, you don't like the couple, the way that they're being. And lots of people have cancelled their Netflix subscriptions and they're going to continue to do so. Do I think some of it is because they paid millions to Harry and Meghan? Yeah, I do. They are underestimating how much people do not like this couple anymore. I'm willing to put money down that Meghan's Spotify, she'll get one out. It will have maybe kind of few people that are just morbid interest and the media reporting on it. I don't think it'll last long. Spotify will probably pull the plug. In another reference to everything that they do, everything that they touch turns to absolute poop, is Reverse Midas Touch. Is Harry's just recently linked up the Invictus Games with Better Up. Within days of this happening, Better Up has had lots of stuff come out about it. It actually treats their life coaches terribly. There's lots of reports that have come out where you can actually look up, and you can do this yourselves. You can go onto Google and type up Better Up reviews. They've probably deleted them now, but there are so many of them where people are saying that the coaches, they've got no job security, they've got no holiday pay, no health insurance, just to name a few of the items. Bearing in mind Meghan's campaign to get into politics is to do with fair pay for people, to do with paid family leave. And the company that Harry is the chimpo of, the Chief Impact Officer, apparently treats its staff poorly. And Harry's just linked them up to work with the Invictus Games athletes. As I said, everything they touch turns to absolute poo. And the thing is, they have done this to themselves. Their attitudes, their behaviour, their constant victimhood. I mean, this book coming out, Harry's memoirs. What have people got left to hear from them? They have literally never stopped talking about how tough it is for them, how hard their life has been, the struggles that they face. Meghan being silenced, Harry being forced to work until he burnt out. What left is there for them to sell? Because let's be honest, with the Ellen show and the latest backgrid pap shots that were taken by Harry and Meghan at a polo game or a polo game warm-up in Montecito, not only have they sold their royal titles, they've quite clearly sold their dignity as well. I mean, this is who they've turned into. Look what they were in the beginning. We respected the fact that this was Harry's bride. Yes, there were lots of us that were concerned of Meghan's intentions, but everything that we were concerned about came to fruit. Harry and Meghan have undoubtedly damaged the monarchy for a set period of time with their accusations, with their lies, but they have also damaged themselves, their brand, because the problem is with them, they're so stupid that they're still trying to market themselves as royals while still trashing the royal family. So people that were siding with them are like, well, if you don't like the family and it's a racist institute, why do you still use your titles? Why do you still make demands like you're royal? Why do you still behave and talk like you're members of the royal family? A life of service. When they've only been married since 2018, they only reportedly met each other in 2016, and they're preaching a life of service. It's only been a few years. And it's the same with Harry attacking his father's parenting, the Queen and Prince Philip's parenting. His children are 3 and nearly 1? He hasn't got a clue on parenting. Actually, come back and say that when those kids are 18 or 21. In fact, I'd love to hear what the kids are going to say about their parents. So that's it for me, guys, on this video. It does seem like, as I said in the title of this video, their house of cards are beginning to crumble at a rapid pace. The sad thing is, like I said, I think Invictus Games is going to get dragged down into it. They should have left it as a fundraiser where 100% of the fundraising went to Invictus Games, because I do fear for the reviews that this Netflix is going to get, because people are so over them. And much like they tried to do to Joe Rogan, there's a lot of people that want to cancel them.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typist, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.